Something starts to alter when you reach your 60s, quietly, not abruptly, not overnight. You initially dismiss it. An awkward lunch here, a missed call there. However, as time passes, you begin to realize that some of your most enduring friendships no longer fully work out, and it hurts more than you thought it would. These are people you've known for decades. You simultaneously reared your children. Together, they overcame setbacks and possibly even went on vacation. Conversations feel tense today, even though you believed these were your folks for life. When you sit across from someone you used to confide in completely, all you can think of is how frequently you leave feeling more exhausted than when you arrived, how frequently they interrupt you, or how little they inquire about your life. It's not about a single instance. It unravels gradually, much like when you discover that your beloved sweater is itching. You initially attempt to overcome it. You tell yourself, perhaps it's just a difficult time. Maybe they're going through something. Perhaps you are. You extend your patience beyond what is necessary in the hopes that things would return to normal, but they don't. The discussions remain superficial. The energy remains off. Additionally, the relationship that was once natural now requires effort. Too much labor. There is a certain amount of sorrow in that. It isn't actually discussed. It's real, though. We anticipate losing contact with our neighbors, co-workers, even the person who used to fix our lawnmower. But it feels holy to have longtime pals, and it pierces deeply when that begins to wane. The past is what makes it more difficult. You recall their nuptials. Your first grandchild was born there. You both made it through the 1980s. How are you able to simply drift apart at this point? In actuality, friendship requires more than just past events. It requires being there. It needs attention. And no number of shared experiences can make up for the fact that individuals no longer show up in the ways that are important, emotionally, cognitively, and soulfully. Here's another harsh reality. Sometimes people develop in various ways simply because they have changed, not because of conflict or betrayal. The manner you connect no longer works since they have changed. You're attempting to calm down, think more deeply, and preserve your tranquility. They continue to pursue drama, gripe frequently, or cling to outdated habits that don't fit your life. You want authentic moments and meaningful conversations. Laughing is something you want, but not at the expense of nuance. Instead of waiting for their turn to speak, you want companions who listen. It's not selfish either. That's truthful. However, being honest isn't always simple. Admitting that someone you previously needed no longer fits your environment is difficult. As you stir your tea at dinner across from them, you wonder if they are also aware of the stillness. And if they do, they keep it to themselves. It's even harder when you still love them, when they aren't nasty or poisonous, but rather aloof, disengaged, or trapped in a past version of you. Although you no longer know how, you still want to reach for them. You have a sneaking suspicion that they feel the same way. It may seem disloyal to let go of those friendships, as though you're wasting years of connection, but you're not. You're just realizing that things don't have to continue forever. Not everyone walks with us all the way to the finish, but some do. This is the actual change that occurs after the age of 60. You start to be more deliberate. You begin to wonder, does this individual make my life more peaceful? Or do I feel a bit less visible, a little more worn out, and a little smaller after every encounter? And you begin to distance yourself when the response tends to the latter. It's out of self-respect, not anger. It's your right to safeguard your energy. You've dedicated your life to helping others while juggling obligations, expectations, employment, and family. The time has come to invest your heart a little more carefully. This entails being forthright about friendships that no longer benefit you. It need not be cruel, though. You don't have to make a big exit. There's no need for a lengthy communication or a heated discussion. Simply ceasing to push is sometimes the most compassionate approach to let go. Have faith that you will both find what you need elsewhere and let the distance take its time to settle. because this is where the beauty lies. You may make room for the proper people, those who listen, encourage, and accept you for who you are, by removing yourself from the incorrect connections, without requiring you to perform or shrink. Even though there won't be many people, it will be sufficient. Nothing prevents you from forming your best friendships after the age of 60. Later in life, some of the most sincere relationships are formed. After the masks are removed, when there is no longer any pressure to impress. When all you truly want is a conversation partner who knows what it's like to wake up with a sharp feeling of clarity and stiff knees. And perhaps that's the true meaning of it all. Clarity and the courage to ask for the kind of buddy you desire, even if it meant losing people you had assumed you would never lose. You're not alone if you've been experiencing this change as well. This is a component of wisdom-based aging, not merely aging, and perhaps the reason you've seen the entire video is because it speaks to you personally. If it is, you might want to stay, sign up, come to a place where we can discuss things openly, without bias and without the strange chain emails from 2007. You begin to notice it in the little things. A story that you both used to laugh at feels uninteresting all of a sudden. They scoff indifferently when you mention a book that touched you. You used to be fun, they say, rolling their eyes when you mention that you've been getting up earlier, journaling more, and drinking less. It's there, but it's subtle. You're no longer the version of yourself to which people are attached. It's also possible that you used to chuckle at things that now make you uncomfortable. Maybe you used to bond over complaints or gossip or long phone calls filled with repetition. You wanted something else, though, somewhere along the line. They remained where they were and had meaningful talks, peace, and purpose. There are moments when a friend still acts like the same 20-year-old they did when they first met you half a lifetime ago, as if you haven't experienced things, matured, or had a change of heart. They don't seem to hear you when you try to describe who you are now. Even worse, they listen to it and brush it off as if evolution is a bother. Being misinterpreted hurts, especially when it comes from someone who used to know you very well. It seems as though their roots remained shallow while yours grew deeper. And now you're living in separate emotional climates and speaking different languages. You want to discuss the future, but others prefer to chat about the past. This does not imply that you are superior to them. It does not imply that they are incorrect. It simply indicates that your once side-by-side roots are now curved in opposite directions. Additionally, the bond becomes heavier the more you attempt to carry it down your new course. You eventually stop. You should quit taking the initiative, explaining too much, and attempting to make people laugh when they are just echoing. The distance starts to set in at that point. Not always spectacular, but indisputable. Messages become shorter. Birthdays are now texted rather than called. The flow of invitations slows down. The effort required to keep something alive that is no longer breathing begins to seem less comfortable than the quiet. The crazy thing is that you can love someone and know when to let them go. That love doesn't make up for tiredness, disappointment, or the silent pain of feeling invisible. Actually, the love itself might make things more difficult at times. You wish to preserve the positive. You recall the dinners you shared, the private jokes, the trips, and the evenings when they came to you. Even such recollections, however, begin to seem like postcards from a life you no longer lead. Erasing such memories is not the same as letting go. It just indicates that you are now at last accepting where you are, because not everyone has the courage to acknowledge when something once lovely has reached the end of its useful life. That deserves some recognition. What does that leave you with then? Space, calm, and a somewhat empty calendar can make you feel lonely at first, but it also presents an opportunity to make new friends that complement your new self. Friends who discuss more than simply persons. Friends who observe your development and reciprocate it. Friends that don't mind if you cut the sugar in your coffee or start going to bed at 9:30. They may be at community activities, walking groups, or book clubs. They may be people you meet online. They may appear when you least expect them. Talking to someone while waiting in line at the drugstore only takes 5 minutes longer than some individuals have in 50 years. Even if there are just one or two of such folks, finding them makes you feel lighter and more at peace than you realized you were lacking. After 60, you come to the realization that friendship need not be about lifespan. It has to do with alignment, the depth of your connection, not the length of time you've known one another. The trade-off is that you get a better idea of who you are and who you want to spend your time with, but you also lose some people. You begin to select connections that make you feel good, like a breath of fresh air, like tranquility, and you no longer feel bad about needing or desiring that. If life has taught you anything by now, it is that time is valuable and you should spend it with those who see you, not just those who remember you. Some friends were only supposed to last a few chapters or a season, and just a small percentage will stick with you the entire time. However, it's acceptable to move on. It's growth, not treachery. Therefore, whether you've been mourning a lost friendship in private or wondering if it's acceptable to let someone go, I hope this is okay with you. There are others like you. You're not cold-hearted either. You're just now choosing happiness over the past, presence over pressure, and calm over duty. And I'm right here if you need a new voice to accompany you on this next part of the journey. No pressure, but if this resonated with you, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be back with more honest conversations, more subdued realities, and never any spam. Go ahead and give the friend who makes you feel good a call, the person who inquires about your well-being and watches for a response. You are aware of the one, as those friendships are valuable as you age.